Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Wednesday's Words of Wisdom with Coach Hawkins. For those who are new to SPSV, this is a continuation of what we began last March to offer to our SPSV community some comforting and reassuring words to help us transition during these stressful times. In today's episode, I want to introduce you a principle which has been beneficial for me for some time. It's called the priority principle. And by using this principle, especially during these times, I've been able to be more efficient in many areas of my life. When I share the many different things I'm doing, I often get, "Coach, how do you do all of that? What's your secret?" And my reply is simple. I choose what I fail in. That's right, I choose where I fail. You see, if I make an attempt to succeed in everything, I'll fail at everything. This understanding has kept me focused and grounded on what's important in my life and for my family. C.S. Lewis puts it this way: put first things first, and you get second things thrown in. Put second things first, and you lose both first and second things. Author Stephen Pressfield of The Art of War says, the principle of priority states, A, you must know the difference between what is urgent and what is important, and B, you must do what's important first. What's important is the work. That's the game I've suited up for. That's the field on which I have to leave everything I've got. Dr. Stephen Covey says, putting first things first means organizing and executing around your most important priorities. It's living and being driven by the principles you value most, not by the agendas and forces surrounding you. Finally, Jesus teaches in the Bible, Matthew 6, verse 33, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. So what's the priority principle, you ask? It's about being clear about your priorities and acting upon them. Now understand, priorities carry a unique distinction between what's important as opposed to what's urgent. When we confuse the two, we minimize our efficiency, cloud our perspective, and we'll be distracted from lasting success. In short, we'll sacrifice what's best for what's good. A typical mistake made is to think that establishing priorities is simply about being organized. And in some cases it is, but in many cases it is not. In my view, what's extremely important isn't about being organized, but that we make room for our life priorities. Well, when it comes to being organized, there are four types of people. The first type of person is called the procrastinator. The procrastinator is addicted to urgency. They thrive under pressure and like to put things off until it becomes a crisis. Stress helps them think. They rarely plan ahead because they want the rush of doing everything at the last possible moment. Unfortunately, most of the times, what they accomplish is mediocre at best. And then you have the yes man. The yes man has a hard time saying no to anything. You know anyone like that? They can't say no to anything. They try so hard to please others that they usually please no one. They are a victim of FOMO, F-O-M-O, the fear of missing out. They can't handle anyone having fun without them. The yes man usually ends up always being a follower and never a leader. Then after the yes man comes the slacker. The slacker just wants to hang out. Mindless pastimes are the best use of their time. They can forget appointments easily. They're distracted by what they're doing now, or they don't want to stop what they're doing. They can't be counted on, or they're just viewed as lacking responsibility. But to sum it up, the fourth character is the prioritizer. The prioritizer is where highly effective people spend the most of their time. They look at everything going on and decides what's most important and what needs to be done first and done well. So what's prioritizing? In my opinion, it's the key to effective living. It's not found in any of the first three types of persons we talked about. While any of those three types can have some level of success, it is not consistent or sustainable. You can either live in a constant state of disarray, which will lead to a very unproductive outcome, or you can begin to establish yourself by working through the priority principle. As I stated previously, the priority principle isn't about being organized. To be organized simply means putting things in proper place. You see, being organized is about two simple things: time and space. Your shoes here, your keys there, your shirts there, and so on. But to live in the priority principle, it goes beyond things being organized, time and space. It reaches into the core of who you are. It's about getting into life and finding out what's working for you, what's important for you. Living by the priority principle could be challenging at first, and may take a bit of time now, but the benefits you gain in the long run will supersede the time you spent in the beginning. A priority is not the same thing as a goal. A goal is finite and measurable. It's something you can do on a checkoff list. But a priority is a guiding life value. It's something that you continuously strive towards. It's easy to be masterful at being busy without being productive. It's easy to do or not do the important stuff, such as eating healthily or whatever else you have going on. But it's easy to get distracted, playing chess all day, taking time on Twitter, eating junk food. But the priority principle helps us evaluate all those things and that we might become effective in our everyday life. In his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, author Stephen Covey talks about the third habit, which is putting first things first. This is a priority principle. He establishes his 4-quadrant grid. As you see, it's based on 2 major factors in our lives, important and urgent. Quadrant 1, urgent and important. These are the highly important tasks, ones that need to be handled as soon as possible. Putting them off will result in immediate repercussions. Quadrant 2, not urgent but important. Quadrant 2 comprises of things that are not urgent right now but essential. These are the tasks that need to get done but have no deadline. These are the tasks that take a backseat to anything that appears in Quadrant 1. Quadrant 3, urgent but not important. These are the details, the minor responsibilities like recharging a phone, replying to a text message while in the presence of others or company. Ignoring them may not have an earth-shattering impact, but could have a negative effect all the same. Ideally, you want to eliminate all of Quadrant 3 by either delegating it out or simply or politely saying no. Quadrant 4, not urgent and not important. These are usually personal items that don't have any immediate bearing. Think of it like this. Quadrant 4 is filled with the tasks that a person does not need to complete, but would probably like to, just the same. Let me ask you, can you determine which quadrant will lead to the maximum efficiency in your life? Well, if you said Quadrant 2, you're correct. That's the place where we really want to hang out. Doing too much in Quadrant 1 will increase our stress level. Doing too much in Quadrant 3 will spend a lot of time being busy, but not productive. Doing too many things in Quadrant 4, you're wasting your time and your energy on meaningless tasks. Now, that doesn't mean that we should not pass through all of those quadrants, but the main place where we want to stay is in Quadrant 2. So ask yourself, what things can you do right now to move your life's needles from simply surviving to radically thriving? If you ask me, I'll tell you, implement the priority principle in your life, and you'll find yourself making tremendous strides to have a better life, where you're not simply surviving, but you are thriving. God's best to you all.